What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Gabos, and we back on another one. Remember, I rock with you only if you rock with me. You know what I'm saying? So subscribe is the vibe. So hit that subscribe button because your boy's on the road to 4K. This is how we do it with consistency, man. Yo, bro, I've been preaching for Derek Carr to get up out of Oakland, Vegas, wherever you want to relocate to. You just got to move him. I moved the franchise. Now it's time to move him. It's a wrap, bro. I've been calling him Derek Carr crash since the beginning of time. He's been washed to me. Like, he alright. I don't get what took Oakland and Vegas so long to see the writing on the wall. Like, this dude is just not gonna win you a chip, bro. He's a peg ahead of Kirk Cousins to me. Barely. And Kirk Cousins, and I ain't gonna front, bro. Kirk Cousins stresses me the hell out. So we trying to figure it out. But at the end of the day, I'm not gonna sit here and say that Derek Carr is useless. There's several franchises that need a quarterback, and he's more than competent. It's just, are you gonna win a Super Bowl with him? Probably not. Is he gonna lead you to the playoffs? Probably. You know, so I get it. One man's trash is another man's treasure. There are plenty of teams that need a quarterback that will more than willingly give this dude $100 million to suck. Let's see which one of these franchises is dumb enough. Because you know there's always one. Hit the subscribe button, man.
Conversation happening that Derek Carr is going to be traded from the Las Vegas Raiders. So whenever you think about a quarterback being traded that has a massive cash tag next to him, in this particular case, I believe it's like 34 million cap hit, 40 some, here it is. If a team were to trade for Derek Carr, here's what it would owe him.
You see this, bruh? You see this cap salary hit? Who's this guy, Joe Namath? Joe Montana? Brady? Look at this cap hit, bruh. If a team were to trade for Derek Carr, here's what it would owe him on his current deal. $32 million base salary? That's the going rate for a 6-11 record? Bro, I need my kids playing in the NFL, bro. Only the quarterback position. Because it's been robbery, dog. This dude has been robbing this franchise for 10 years, bro. And then on top of that, he gets a raise, $41 million. Yeah, bro, I can't.
2023, $32.9 million base salary plus $100,000 workout bonus is a $33 million cap hit. 2024, $41.9 million.
$100,000 to work out.
Bonus, $42 million cap hit. 2025, $41.2 million base salary plus $100,000 workout bonus, $41.3 million cap hit. That's a lot of fucking money. And whenever you think about a veteran quarterback who hasn't had success at the team that he is currently at, and he's worth a lot of money and he's already in a contract, you think to yourself, there's no way anybody's going to want to pick up that contract. They're going to want to renegotiate another one, maybe make it a prove-it deal. But recent history has told us that that is not necessarily the case. The Indianapolis Colts have spent $700 million on quarterbacks that have not worked out the last 3 years. Phil Rivers, he has a pretty good year. He retires. Carson Wentz, he forgot how to play football most of the time. Had some great plays, but he was a fucking nightmare most days to watch from a cardiac situation because he would give the ball to the other team just as much as he would score. He was fascinating. He's gone after 1 year. And then you bring in Matt Ryan, and obviously he's an astronaut. He's a Navy SEAL. He's a man who won it out of Atlanta.
He's a man on one leg.
Type player just a few years back, half a decade back, whatever the case. He was not the answer for the Indianapolis Colts. So you think about these massive cash tags next to an old quarterback who has not necessarily played their best football or had success. And you think to yourself, there's no way anybody would trade for it. We're here to tell you that it has happened.
Oh, yeah.
Connor fought pretty hard this morning to remind me of that case.
Tooth and nail.
Because I thought to myself, there's no way anybody is going to trade for that contract by February 15th. There's an entire draft cycle that has to come through. There's a free agency cycle
Vegas
that
is
has
screwed.
to come through. There's no way any team is going to pick up that contract February 15th, which is the date in which we all assume the Raiders are going to make a decision, because if they cut him from the team, they only owe him like $5 million or something next year. That seems like the logical move, but today they're saying that they're going to try to trade him. Obviously, that would be the first step, and I assume...
Teams, I hate when teams do this shit. We've seen this shit time and time again. You're not going to trade him, bro. You know why you're not going to trade him? It's the oldest trick in the book. Everybody knows you got to get rid of him. And when everybody knows you got to get rid of something, why would I pay you for it? Why? We're going to wait for you to release him. You're going to be on the hook for $5 million because you're a trash organization, right? We're going to wait for you to give him the $5 million, and then we're just going to offer him a contract of our own. That's how this game works. Teams got to understand when you have no leverage, it's a wrap. Once you put it out there and then Derek Carr goes on Twitter and writes this philosophical, I apologize, my heart is broken. I've sucked in 2 different states, Oakland and Vegas. I'm sorry, guys. You got Adams flying in from Green Bay to come play with you, and now you out of here. So now he got fucking, who's the quarterback? Stidham? Adams ain't leave Rodgers for no Stidham. I beg your pardon? So at the end of the day, he's going to walk. Like, what are we going to get for Derek Carr? What round pick is he worth? Plus that contract? So I got to give you picks and pay him? I wish I might.
Nobody's going to pick him up. Connor, you reminded me, there's bad decisions made all the time.
Every single offseason, there's bad decisions made. And we all thought, absolutely not. This is not a good deal for whoever wants to pick it up. And if you were to ask this room if someone should trade for him, obviously no. But when you look at maybe a Jared Goff type contract, I feel like that's what you can compare it to. Like, hey, can we get Derek Carr and can he do what Jared Goff did for the Lions? And I think some teams, Panthers, who have the 9 overall pick, maybe that might be too late to get a quarterback and if they don't want to trade up. Maybe they do it. Saints, who don't have a first-round pick, maybe they want to. Tom Brady leaves Tampa Bay. Are the Bucs just going to go with Blaine Gabbert or Kyle Trask, or maybe they also think, hey, Derek Carr could probably come in here.
A lot of
weapons. He can probably come in here and do a job good enough where we're still competitive, could go to the playoffs.
I would say a lot of weapons.
I have zero faith in all 32 teams doing the right thing. Obviously, there's probably only 4 or 5 teams that are going to be looking into Derek Carr, and I just assume, based on previous, situations in the NFL with the ones you listed, with some of the other pretty bad quarterbacks who have good contracts.
You talk about Baker, Darnold, Goff, Carson, Matt
Tannehill.
Ryan.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, Derek Carr crashes better than all of them. Derek Carr Crash isn't the worst quarterback in the league. He's just the worst quarterback for the Vegas Raiders. We've seen enough of him. So would I take him over Baker and some of these other chumps? Hell yeah. Do I think he should go to Carolina? Nah, bro. I don't think Carolina could be saved. Derek Carr ain't saving you. I mean, it's not like Derek Carr had success anywhere he's coming from. Ah-ha!
Like he's a Tannehill contract guy. Like if you're looking at it from that type of tier, it's like $33 million's a lot, and that would be a 1-year deal basically because I think the dead cap is $2 million after next year. So $33 million for a guy who's a vet who maybe you have a young team, and this is the Panthers situation kind of where he can come in for a year and it's basically another prove-it deal. $220 million, cap space next year probably is what they're estimating. $33 million for a quarterback isn't that terrible. I just am under the impression
isn't that
that
terrible?
team will spend
Hilarious.
a 3rd-round pick, 4th-round pick to get Derek Carr and just eat that salary for a year.
I think it's a good assumption. Now that's coming up quick though.
Oh yeah.
February 15th is coming up very, very quick.
And all those teams have a lot of decisions to make.
Yeah, if he is cut before February 15th, the Raiders only owe him $5 million, and they only have $5 million in dead cap. Right now, it's like $40 million in contracts, let alone what the next year is. Do you think he gets traded by February 15th? Do you think this league is so quarterback needy that Derek Carr and his big contract will be traded before February 15th, seemingly the deadline for this whole thing?
I think there's a good chance because the Raiders probably won't be. I think the transaction will be more about keeping that contract intact to the next team and then redoing the contract. So I think that's something that I think could happen. I truly believe that it's going to be one of those situations where they're going to have to work together because the Raiders know at the end of the day they're not going to get a lot out of this trade, maybe a mid-round pick or something like that. But
is he on his phone?
And then Carr needs to go somewhere where at least he's
Man, on the phone.
guaranteed. Say he hits the street. Right, and everybody thinks there's gold out there on the street, but perhaps he doesn't make as much as he's due to make in this contract. So he's better off kind of keeping this contract intact and then working around it and then pick his new team.
What would that new team be? What do you think he's looking for, Lombo? Like where would be a good fit?
I would think, knowing the situation, as he's been through so many coordinators in his career in Las Vegas and before Oakland, I would think he'd want to go with somebody who he's familiar with, somebody who he knows the terminology, somebody who's coached him from before.
Who's he going to win with?
And I don't know if we can determine that yet because the landscape of the league hasn't really been determined. We've got 5 openings. We're going to have more probably. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen in Los Angeles with the Rams, but for me, everybody keeps asking, is Sean McVay coming back? Is he coming back? I mean, to me, if I were at the Rams, I would want, Sean, are you willing to do 3 years? Because it's going to take that long to get here. So we're going to have probably more openings. And once we have more openings, that'll change the infrastructure of a lot of these teams and the coordinators. And I think Carr's going to want to go to a team that he's familiar with, the coach who's called plays with him, he knows them, and he's comfortable with them. And so there's a less of a transition.
So you don't think February 15th is the deadline then, because they'll be able to trade the contract regardless?
They'll be able to trade they don't have to do anything until March the 3rd when that guarantee kicks in. Now, I think at some point they'll say to themselves, they're making phone calls now. Dave Ziegler, the general manager of the Raiders, is making phone calls. And if he's getting a lot of, hey, we're not interested in that deal, then eventually he's just going to have to say, okay, nobody wants this. Tell the agent, nobody wants the contract. We'll cut you. You're on your own.
Y'all let me know in the comment section where you think Derek Carr crash is going to land, because at this point, we already know Vegas ain't keeping him. Well, here's the thing. I will say there is a necessity for him because he is a quarterback. Regardless of his record out there, he's still a competent quarterback that could possibly win you 7-8 games with a good defense, maybe. It really depends on the situation and the weapons around him. So whoever's going to trade for him, hey, listen, man, you better hope he wants to be there, because he ain't nothing without some talent around him. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. I rock with you. If you rock with me, hit the subscribe button, bro. Your boy's consistent. I can't wait for the NFL playoffs so I can react to these games with you guys. I'm out.